Okay, what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to try and add some GUI. So we're going to go to the ImGui website and we're going to download a zip file, which I've already done. I got that in here. We're going to unzip this, extract all, extract, and then we have to make a few little changes to this before we can add it to our vendors folder, because we're using we're going to actually first thing we're going to do is we're just going to quickly go in there and we need to rename it. Let's just rename that to ImGui. And then in here we need to go into backend and we need to copy out a couple of files in here. We need the ImGui GLFW. We need both of those, and we also need the OpenGL 3 header and the OpenGL CPP. We also need the OpenGL 3 loader.h. So we'll copy all of those back up into this one. We'll paste them in there, and then basically this here we can delete all of those because we don't need them. Now what we can do is this file, we can now copy that, navigate our way back up to where our oh, I went too far where the project is, vendors, and we will simply paste that in there. Okay, that's that done. We can get rid of that in a minute. Into the project, if we refresh the project now, just simply by clicking that, we'll get ImGui, and we've got all of these files in here. Now we need to select all of these files down to there. We don't need to select the what name, and we need to include them in the project. So it's highlight them, right click, and then go down and click include in project. We don't need to include those ones in there. Right, and from there we can go to our header file, our Windows Manager.h file, and in here we're going to need to add some new things that we're going to do. We're going to want to have void, and then we will do ImGui initialize, and that will give us that. Then we'll do void ImGui new frame. We have to do a new frame. That also has to have, if we do it properly, it will probably help me. That also needs GLFW window, then we need to do a render. We need to be able to render the ImGui window. Yeah, that needs the GLW window in there as well. And oh, don't need a gap there, Mark. And last but not least, we need ImGui shutdown. That doesn't need the GLFW window in it. And what we'll do with that, we will simply go and create a definition. Possible syntax error, what have I done wrong there? No idea. Didn't that create a thing with that one? Little hiccup there. Don't know what that was to do with. Two more. That one and the shutdown. We need to come in here and add we need to include GUI and that one. We also need nope. I don't get no better at it. We do need that one, and then we will also need the OpenGL. We will need OpenGL as well. Oh, he's doing it all over the place. Yeah, the OpenGL one. So we need to the GLFW one, the OpenGL, and the main header, which is the main ImGui. Then in here we will need to go and add the code that's going to set up, initialize the ImGui. So in here we will simply do a little bit of space, and it's check version. Check version, and we need ImGui create context. We then need to do but this is slightly different because this is IO. Unsign, and then we do IO get IO void. This information's on the ImGui website, so you can find out how to do this. Go into their examples, and you can find all this. Need to do the keyboard, enable keyboard, then ImGui set. There's loads of these flags you can set if you want. You can, if you're using a controller or a gamepad or something, you can set all of those as well. I only have a keyboard. I only set the flag for the keyboard. I don't do any of the other bits. Style, set the style, so we're basically setting this to a dark style. It also has a light style. You can simply set it to set style, color, light, same thing, and you'll have a lighter version. And we need to and this one is style. If I could spell, I'd be dangerous. Get style, so that's that. We then need to do the GLFW. So actually we'll set that one, but we'll just for now we'll comment that one out because that's actually quite an interesting little additive you can add to the whole thing at the end of the day. ImGui dear it, I don't want that. I'm having to try to think as I go along to do this, otherwise it just won't work. And for OpenGL Windows true, that one. And the last couple of bits we need a const jar version 330. Now this in here has to be what your version is. Mine's 460. It'd work on 330, it would make no difference to it, but don't put 430 if you've only got 330 on your system, because that could and probably would cause a problem. Okay, that's that done. Then we need to go to the next one, which is the new frame. We have to be able to set a new frame each time it goes through. And look at that, the computer loves me, it's filled all the blanks in for me. So we need to new frame for the OpenGL, new frame for the GLFW, and then we just call new frame. And then in the render we simply need in here we do the top line, that we've missed a little bit out there. We need to come in here and do int like that, and then under that we need to simply do that, and then in shutdown we're going to basically do, I'm glad it does that because I'm so slow and struggle so much with my spelling. I'm glad it fills in the blanks for me. Okay, that's the setup there for that. We then need to come into app. It's only 3 files this is going to affect. We need to add in the top here glad, we've already got glad, haven't we? And the main header in there, the ImGui main header. Then we come down into our where we run our window, and in here we are going to do simply do in there we're going to call the initialize, so we're going to do window that one there. Yep, we're going to do that. We're going to initialize the window in there. Then we're going to come down to our main loop. We're going to move poll events up to the top. So simply click next to it, Alt and the arrow keys, and we can simply slide that up to the top of the loop because it works better with ImGui if it's up there. We're going to need to call a new frame, so each time it goes through it will call a new frame. That one there. New frame, I'm going to call that in there. Window, like so, and then render, under render where we're rendering the plain object that we've got on screen already. We're going to do the same again. So that one there. ImGui render. That one there. So every time it comes through, it will render the ImGui window. And then last but not least, we're going to need to close it down. If I could spell. That one there. And shut down. Now, the important bit here is under here. So what we need to do here now is create a little tiny window. We need begin. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's making that really difficult for me to read that. And then it will simply be, yeah, what it says there. And we need to then have something in the window. We'll have a text box, something like that. There we go. And last but not least, we need to end the window. So every time you begin, you need to do an end. That's the same with menus, with pop-ups. Everything has to have a end on it to close it out. Otherwise you get funny little errors. Now, I think if I've done this correct, we should be able to click the big green button. And if we don't get an error, it'll be a miracle. I get so used to having errors. I did something earlier on and I ended up with 500 and some odd errors, which was slightly irritating. We've only got one today, so that's not quite so bad, and that is because my antivirus hates me. Or at least I hope that's what it is. I'm fairly sure that's what it is. With a bit of luck, we should have a tiny little ImGui window. There we go. Our first ImGui window. We can now do interesting things with this. We can add buttons and sliders and various things. We could add some bits on there so as we could move this backwards and forwards across the screen. We could add a color picker so as we could change the background color. There are a whole host of things you can on the ImGui website. There's loads of information about how you can set some of this stuff up. And the other thing you can also do, there is in here, there's which we'll do next time, you can call this demo in here, the ImGui demo, and that'll open another window where you can actually look at all the things that ImGui has in its arsenal to make life really interesting. If we go back, just go back to here a minute and uncheck our little box there, you can see how easy some of this stuff is to actually use, because what that will do now is that will round our little window and give it a nice, oh god, not again. I gotta try to find a way of sorting that out. I really have. But at the end of the day, it does my head in. Not that it takes a lot to do that at my age. Anyhow, with a bit of luck now, we'll have a nice little window with nice rounded corners. And obviously, because you can alter that up and have a higher curve, a lesser curve, whatever you sort of fancy. Anyhow, that's been a really long video, so I think we'll end it there. Thanks for watching if you did.